Greetings, everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're back here with the mini series that we're running over the 6-week period. We're now in the second week, so this will be episode 2. This is a mini series, and it's called Bands by the Numbers. So we are at this is the second episode, so we're at the 5-man band. Yes. This is probably I knew this was going to be the hardest one to do because there's so many good 5-man bands. So I narrowed it down to the 3 that I think deserve it the best. And then from that 3, I thought it through and I basically was thinking about which one has the better set of albums, which one is my current favorite, which one of them may be the most historic favorite or the most has been there the longest. And I decided to go with the longest one. So obviously that goes for Yes. Yes is the band we're doing today here on Bands by Numbers. This is the 5-man band. So you've got, in this particular case on this album, you have Wakeman, Bruford, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, and John Anderson. Now this run of albums, which goes from the Yes album, Fragile, Close to the Edge, Tales of the Topographical Ocean, Relayer, Going for the One, Tormato, and Drama. Just absolutely killer. And all of these albums have a 5-man band. So originally with the Yes album, you would have had Steve Howe, Tony Kaye, Bill Bruford, Chris Squire, and John Anderson. The next album out, they acquired Rick Wakeman to replace Tony Kaye. He was also again on this album. So you had, for 2 albums in a row, you had the exact same group. Then Bill Bruford left and was replaced by Alan White on Tales of the Topographical Ocean. And then Patrick Moraz came in on Relayer to replace Rick Wakeman. Rick Wakeman came back on Going for the One, stayed there with them for Tormato, and the band had a bit of a falling out, and then we got Anderson and Wakeman leaving and replaced by the Buggles, Trevor Horn, and Jeff Downs. So those are all the members, or all the people that participated on that really classic Yes lineup, which had some of the very best progressive rock albums of all time. And that's essentially, this band was number 1 for about 19 years or 20 years for me. Then we're number 2 for probably maybe about a little bit more than that, maybe 25 years. And they've recently been knocked down to the number 3 level by another band. But they're just too good over that period of time to not throw them here as the best 5-man band of all time, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Nobody else's opinion. You may have somebody completely different here. I have enjoyed every one of these albums to a greater or lesser extent. Probably for me, the weakest of all those albums was Tales of the Topographical, and I think the reason that it was the weakest is because it was a double album, and I don't do well with longer albums. However, the rest of the albums are absolutely fantastic, either ones or masterpieces for me. So loved it and decided that Yes deserved to be the 5-man band for today. Absolutely killer. So the other bands that I considered, the other 2 main bands I considered, of course, were Jethro Tull, who is my current number 2 favorite band. Their run started probably for me with Stand Up, through Benefit, Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, Minstrels in the Gallery, the rock and roll album. There was one album in there, that kind of weaker one, I can't even think of the name of it. I have it here somewhere. I haven't listened to it. It's up on my not listened to collection there. And then you got Songs from the Wood, and I believe Stormwatch is after that. So, but an excellent run of albums. I don't think it's as good as the Yes run, but and two of those albums in that run only had 4 people in the band, so wouldn't have qualified for the bottom 2 stand up, and Benefit wouldn't have qualified for this. So basically, they're reduced in number of albums, but still, they're my second favorite band, but not because of the number of members in the band. So I chose them as a runner-up for that reason. The other one, of course, was Genesis. I actually considered these guys for a bit, but they probably would have been third on that list just because I just think the other 2 discographies are just a little bit better. However, these guys go from Trespass all the way to probably, and then there were 3 before, and a solid run too of masterpieces and number ones. The only one in there that I never really took to was the double album, which is Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. But for many people, that's their favorite Genesis album. I completely understand that. So those were my 2 kind of runner-ups if you were going to have a runners-up. Other bands that deserve to be mentioned here in the 5-man band category, of course, is Styx. Styx has long been a 5-man band, but at different times they've had us went on tour and stuff. They've added other members, past members such as Chuck Panozzo in there, but for the most part, their serious run at music, starting in the Wooden Nickel era and going right through to probably Paradise Theater. They had some fantastic albums in there, but I don't think their fantastic albums, in my opinion, weren't as good as some of these other bands. And then you had Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Now Iron Maiden has taken on an extra member and are now a 6-man band, but easily their best albums run around that time period with their 5-man band parts. And there's other bands I could have included as well, but those are the main ones. And I think Yes is well deserving, but it was a hard decision to put them in this spot. So I hope you've enjoyed this mini series episode number 2 of Bands by Numbers, featuring Yes, who are featured as the best 5-man band for me. So next week we will be doing the 4-man band. This might even be even harder to do because there are so many 4-man bands I like as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Please hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget the notification bell. If you want to make any comments or pick a 5-man band of your own to put in there, or comments about the band I chose or some of the runner-up bands I have, you could do that as well. And I will try to answer all comments as best I can. Or questions. If they're comments, I might just agree or disagree with you. That's about it. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We will see you next week when we'll be down to doing the 4-man bands, which is episode 3 of my Bands by the Numbers mini-series. We're running for 4 episodes. So take care and have yourself a good one. Goodbye.